not surprising that we have predicted this over the last 20 years, I think. I've been working in climate change, and we know we've been saying we will expect more violent weather, more unpredictable weather, and warmer, wetter winters, and then hotter, drier summers. And there's more extremes, but more the frequency of extremes is what's really what we're seeing now. And that makes it harder for us to recover in between each extreme weather event, and puts pressure on our services and has this attrition on people, which means we can't bounce back between each event.
I know you live in Hebden Bridge, don't you, which is an area which has been flooded several times. I know that you've helped out in recoveries in the past, haven't you? And it's kind of like the human impact that we often forget.
That's right. And actually, we can put in place walls and nature-based solutions, leaky dams and trees and things. But and we have all the attention and focus on how we recover straight afterwards, and clearing out houses. But as Philip was saying, it's going to take him probably until New Year to recover the hut he was talking about. When you've got people moved out of houses, and once the sort of immediate emergency has gone, that recovery period takes at least sort of around 9 months or more to get people back into their homes once they've dried out. And the emotional impact is absolutely massive. In terms of just the immediate aftermath, the shock and upset, because your home is where you should feel secure. And of course, it's people who are the poorest or underinsured or uninsured, and small businesses that suffer, where they might look at their insurance documents and realise they're not even insured for flooding. So that sort of mental impact and the sort of disruption of maybe moving kids to a different school because you're in temporary accommodation, that putting the people at the heart of the recovery and supporting the people who support them as well from the councils who are already under pressure is really important. We've had, unfortunately, a lot of experience of that, not just in Hebden Bridge, but all around the UK. And those things are fairly well documented, and I think people are tuned into the mental health impacts and the kind of things people need, but the long-term things people need too.
You mentioned some of the things that can be done to try and kind of protect homes and properties, but I guess ultimately, if we're seeing these extremes and big changes, do we just need to accept we need to build in different places? Do people need to move their homes from where they are currently to safer places?
This is the thing, Chloe, that we're having to look at. So the government has a climate adaptation plan, and that plan is looking at we're looking at building for a 2-metre sea level rise and for much more extreme weather. But of course, with that, you need money and that infrastructure planning. So we will need to build differently. We'll need to build more in harmony with nature and give nature a chance to protect our seashores. So leave space and protect the shores and the dunes, rather than just always building a wall, which is normally when it's already getting a bit too late. We need to reinforce those walls. 1 in 15 of our flood defences apparently is in pretty poor condition. We've got 8 million people at flood risk for either from coast, river or surface water. That's sort of the drainage side. And we're under huge pressure to build more homes, but we have to build them in sensible places and build them in ways where they soak up water and they're much more resilient to the heat, the flooding and the extreme winds and weather that we're going to get. And the infrastructure that sits around them needs to be resilient to that. So we have to build for the future and build for a changed climate. And in some cases, that might mean people moving, particularly people on those eroded coasts because of our shorelines being at risk.
Yeah, some difficult decisions ahead. Louise, thank you so much for speaking to us this morning. That's Louise Marix Evans, a climate change consultant who's advised the government's Climate Change Committee. So no real easy answers, but the reality is we need to change where we build and how we protect homes, because this is the future for us.